So in terms of the range of a mezzo, it's not actually that fixed. There's a lot of wiggle room, a lot of variation, but what it generally means is that our range sits slightly lower than a soprano and slightly higher than an alto. So a soprano's voice sits comfortably a little higher. So she would sing her high C with more flexibility. She would be able to sing really quiet, gentle, tapering away on that note, whereas me, as the mezzo, I would spend most of my time singing in the middle of my vocal range. And I could still go up to that high C and sing it as well, but for me it would be more full throttle. There's also the colors of our voices. Mine is, people usually say mezzos are richer, darker, rounder sound, and sopranos are more silvery, not necessarily lighter, but a brighter tone. And then of course the alto, the lowest voice type for a woman, is the darkest, the richest. They're more rare as well. And there are less roles written for them in the opera repertoire, but when you find one, it's a real gem. Then there's also the characters that mezzos tend to be more suited for. It's an interesting thing, but in each opera, in each piece, usually the heroine, the damsel in distress, the leading lady, is the soprano. There are exceptions, but usually it's the soprano. And the mezzo is either a young boy, like I said, the old woman, gypsy, witch, some kind of servant or maid or a sister or the supporting woman. And the sopranos are usually a little bit more one-dimensional. They're often saved by someone else. They don't really get to have control of their own destiny. Of course, this is changing, and modern opera is exploring a lot more variety of character types within each voice range. So I will demonstrate some vocal warm-ups. Usually what I like is something that gets my voice moving a lot. To show you the bottom of my range, I would do probably a rolled R or a lip trill, because I like the way that that activates your mouth and the muscles around your mouth. So starting on a middle C and going down to my bottom. So that's an octave down. And then I'd change it to maybe a lip trill. And once that's done, I can switch it to a vowel or an actual note. We generally warm up below and above the extremes of what we would sing in a piece, just to make sure that it's there. 1 or 2 notes higher and lower than you would normally go. The head voice comes down from the top all the way to about, for me, B below middle C. And then after that, I can do just a switch to a different sound. So this is, let's go from the octave above middle C, this B. This is head voice. And I would go, ah, ah. Do you hear the change? So when we're singing in a piece, in an opera, we try not to show that change. I'm exaggerating it for you today so you can hear the difference, but it changes from a chest voice sound to a head voice sound, and something in between called voix mixte, French for mixed voice, is what we try to use to blend the gap between. My middle voice is all head voice, and for me that's generally between D above middle C to about an octave higher than that. The D 2 octaves above middle C, that would be the one. So I'll sing that range for you. And my warm-up for that part of my voice is, again, really like lively and bouncy. I like doing thirds, trills, anything like that. So I'd start on an R. And sometimes I mix it up too with like a physical warm-up and I wiggle around while I sing. It's important that the body is free, because if you're tight, your voice is going to sound like it's tight too. Then I would switch to a lip trill, the buzzing. And finally we sing. And if I'm doing a full warm-up and not isolating my voice, I would do a 2-octave run. That was just 1 octave, 8 notes, but I would do it from my very lowest note up 2 octaves and back down again. That's it. She came out. Nice to see you, Hi C.